Wow, this is super, super great lighting, but I just got back. I got my signed books. They even had these cutie little, like, player cards for the grandest game. I don't know, like, just such cute little Easter eggs, like, special little things that they had. But Jennifer Lynn Barnes was very, like, charismatic. She was adorable. She can talk, let me tell you. But it was really cool to hear about the process, and I'll talk about it more, but it's 8 o'clock, and I'm tired, hungry, and thirsty, so I need to get to where I'm going, and then I'll give an update after. But I'm super excited to get into this. I'm still, like, finishing the audiobook, like, my reread of The Brothers Hawthorne, because I'm sure there's a lot that I'm gonna, like, miss from, like, the secondary characters in that story that we meet. But I'm kind of excited to read this one. She said that she wanted this book to be like reading the Inheritance Games for the first time, and I desperately want to read the Inheritance Games for the first time again, so I'm excited. Very excited. Also, I'm angry because Holly Black, it was like in conversation with Holly Black, which I was excited for because I was like, that's interesting, that's great. And you could have brought books for Holly Black to sign, which was not in the description of, like, the listing, because a lot of, like, author events are done through Eventbrite, which is where I got my ticket to this one, and it was not in the listing. In the listing, they said that you could bring 2 extra books for Jennifer Lynn Barnes to sign, and I did. I actually remembered this time. I was so happy, because the other author event I went to where you could bring books was for Chloe Gong, and I didn't bring any of the books I had, and I was so sad about that. So I was happy I at least remembered this. We could have had Holly Black sign, like, the whole Cruel Prince trilogy. So anyways, it's been a really long day. I got my hair done. The talk was super interesting. I'm glad I went. I got some cards. Honestly, I might end up using them as bookmarks for this, but I'll talk more about the actual event later. I've gotten home, I've eaten, and I've had something to drink, and I now feel like a functioning person again. My dog is here, and she is oh so curious on what's going on, but I secured the goods. I brought 2 books to get signed. I brought the Little White Lies duology, which I read last summer and really liked, and I decided I wanted to use these 2 as, like, the extra books she would sign. And then, of course, my copy of The Grandest Games. It was really cool to go up and meet the author and have her sign it. I never know, like, what to say when you go up and meet an author. Anyways, the author talk is what I really loved. She's so well spoken, and of course she's very established, like, academically. She has, like, a master's in psychology, like a doctorate in what is it, Mandy? What is it? In psychiatry, psychology, both. She does both. One from Cambridge, one from Yale. Go off, Jennifer Lynn Barnes. But it was so interesting to hear her talk about, like, her character development, like the little fun facts we got, like that. At one point there was, like, a 5th brother. I thought that was interesting. And she's talking about, like, creating the characters, how, like, in her outline when she's creating a story, she comes up with, like, the character, and she'll, like, come up with, like, 2 words for them. So, like, Jameson was, like, risky, and, like, Grayson was, like, kind of inspired by Elijah Michelson from The Vampire Diaries. So she's like this 1,000-year-old vampire who just cares about protecting the family. But her whole process was very interesting. What else did I get down? Oh, she was talking about how she had tried to pitch, like, a puzzle house story to her, like, publisher, like, 3 separate times prior to this, and like the theme of the inheritance games finally worked for the puzzle house, so she was like really excited about that. I thought that was funny. She is great at puzzles. She's great. She does them well, that's for sure. But just listening about how, like, you can tell she's like good at psychology. Like, I feel like she really got into like the psychology of her characters, and like if she wanted something to happen in the present, she had to create this backstory for like why they would react this way, or why this is their personality type, why they behave this way. Like if Grayson is going to be a character that really wants to protect his family, and he's going to be like a little more stoic and all that, he's going to be like that because he was supposed to be the heir apparent, and this in his childhood made him like this as an adult. So it was really interesting to hear her talk about like that back and forth between past and present, and how she like develops her characters that way. I don't know, just like I love listening to authors talk about their books, because you can see how much thought goes into them, and how they take an idea and like put it through the ringer to get to the product that we end up seeing. And I think it's so fascinating. I'm not a writer. I don't think I ever could be. So it's really fascinating to see like how creative they are, how they come up with this whole world, these characters, and why they make the decisions they make. It's so fascinating. It's pretty rewarding. But yeah, it was so great. They also had these cute little like grandest game player cards. I thought they would be the characters that you get like the point of views from, but they're not. They're just like random ones. Kind of sad. I don't know who these people are, but they'll be interesting. Well, I know who one of them is. One of them is Rohan. He was in The Brothers Hawthorne, and he is a main point of view character. Collector set 1. Oh, ultra rare, the Golden Grayson. That's what I wanted. But anyways, I will start this book soon, and I'm very excited for it. We did get like some hints about the book, like who certain characters are, because one of the characters we get the point of view from is somebody that we haven't really met. But anyways, I love the inheritance games. This is like the book series that like really got me back into reading. Like I'd gotten back into reading, and this was like the 4th or 5th book that I read, and it really made me want to just like keep on reading. So I'm excited to have yet another one, and it was so cool to meet her. I've had several of her books I have signed copies of from like buying from her local bookstore, or my parents got me some one year and they actually met her. So it was cool to see her in person for myself. Also, I said it earlier, she is a yapper. I think Holly Black asked her maybe like 5 questions, and she just like goes so into detail to like answer it. It was really nice, but it was like kind of funny. But I think Mandy, what's wrong? I think that's all for the event that I can think of at this moment. I don't know. I might think of things as I'm reading them, so I'll let you know. But I'll see you when I finally start it. Oh, before I forget, I think one of the players, I think there's like, I'm trying to think of how to describe this without saying anything. I think one of the players, I think there's going to be a big betrayal. And I think I know who it's going to be. And I'm going to be really sad by it. But it feels inevitable. I think someone is lying.
because it's really interesting because this book has like a game show vibe. So like think of like Survivor, like people like lying and backstabbing. And we haven't seen it yet because right now they're kind of working in like teams, but I know it's coming and I'm suspicious on someone because they are like trying to seem unsuspicious. They're trying to seem good while other people are, they come across as like secretive. This person isn't. So I think they're bad. I think they do something bad. And I think I know what it is. Okay, I'm a good chunk into the grandest game now. I'm about 60% through it. I'm very glad I audiobooked The Brothers Hawthorne before starting this because there's so much I would have forgotten, major and minor things. It's actually things that are happening now. I think I would have forgotten a lot of stuff. But I'm liking this book, but it feels like everything is happening very fast. They have not even been going through the grandest game for a day. They're not even at like the 24-hour mark of this game beginning, and I am halfway through it. Stuff is always picking up in these books. I don't want to say stuff is starting to pick up because it's been good like that. All Jenniferlynn books are. But we just found something out in one of the point of views that is concerning. And I have an obvious suspicion for what it would be. Anybody reading this book would have the same suspicion, but I am happy that I'm enjoying all the point of views. I was really worried I wouldn't. There's not one that I dislike, although there is one point of view that I like more. I'm enjoying Lyra's point of view. I like her as a character, and I like the stuff that's going on for her. And I don't know how to say things without spoiling them sometimes, but I think it's kind of crazy that this is happening on Hawthorne Island and people aren't really talking about that. Because Hawthorne Island was where like a fire occurred and there's like lore to all that, and it's kind of controversial and it's just like not discussed, which is kind of funny, kind of crazy at the same time. Anyways, I like the cameos that we get from the main characters. Grayson is the only like original character that has a stronger presence in this book because he's the game master for this. This is also the second annual Grandest Games. When this was coming out, I was under the assumption, or I just like assumed that this would be the first annual Grandest Games. I think it's smart that it's the second because it creates this whole question of what happened with the first one. Because it's not talked about. We don't know who won the first ever Grandest Game. We don't know anything. It doesn't seem like the first ever Grandest Game took place at Hawthorne Island either, so it's interesting. What is the difference between the first one and this one? I don't think we'll get any of those answers, at least not in this book. But I'm liking it. I sat down today and read like 175 pages. I probably could finish this right now if I wanted to. I could probably finish it in another hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, but alas, I will not. I will be putting this down for the night. But yeah, I don't think I'm flying through it like I did with the original trilogy, but I just don't think anything can ever beat that for me, because it was like the books that got me really into reading. I'm not disappointed though, but it is hard because you have to look at this as like a brand new series. You can't just like jump into something crazy and developed because this is practically a whole new series. All the characters, aside from Grayson, are characters that you don't really know. So you just have to have like the right mindset of that. That being said, I'm very curious about the players that we don't have their point of view of. Honestly, mostly Savannah. at this moment, with something that was recently said, I'm very curious on what's going on with Savannah Grayson. Hopefully we find out in this book. Anyways, I'll give more updates tomorrow when I hopefully finish. Hopefully it's not just bad stuff that happens. Hopefully some more good happens. I don't know though. I finished The Grandest Game, and overall I liked this book. It was good, it was fun, but it felt like we didn't get a lot of substance. And I've been thinking about what I mean by this, and I think the best way to put it is using like an analogy they use in this book a lot, where sometimes they get like pieces to a puzzle, but those pieces won't be used for like the beginning of the puzzle. They'll just be used at some point or like the very end, and that's kind of what this book felt like. Like obviously the goal and like the purpose of this book is like the grandest game, seeing who will be like the second annual winner, but there's so much so many other plot lines going on, and we just get like little like bits and like tastes of them where like we don't know what's actually going on, and we just get like teased a little bit, but then the book just ends, but then the book is just done, and it felt like we didn't get enough. I don't know if it felt that way because this book is split into 3 different point of views, and there's like 7, I think there's 7 people in this game. Yes, there are 7 people like competing in the grandest game, and they each have their own backstory and their own reasons for being in the game and like what they want out of it. But we got a lot of information, but it just didn't feel like we could do anything with it, or it didn't feel like substantial enough. I think that's the best way to put it. Whereas like in the inheritance games, we would get like bits and pieces, and some stuff would only be used later on, but we still got a lot for like now. I just feel like there wasn't a whole lot of meat to this one yet. This one still feels like a build-up book, which is a little unfortunate because The Brothers Hawthorne was also a big kind of like build-up book. So, I mean, this doesn't mean I didn't enjoy this book, and that it doesn't mean that I won't be picking up the next one. I definitely will be picking up the next ones. I still really enjoy Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Something in this just like didn't quite hit the mark for me. It didn't. It's also a really short book, which is funny because The Brothers Hawthorne is like the longest book out of any of hers, I think, that she's like ever written, actually. Between like the Natural series, the Inheritance games, Little White Lies, The Brothers Hawthorne was like 480 pages, and it was like the longest. And again, not too much felt like it happened in that book, but yeah. We just got little bits and pieces, but not enough to see any full picture. Like, I just wish there was like another 100 pages to this book. I can understand how this felt like a natural stopping point for this book. I just wish it wasn't. I just wish there was more. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. I really liked the characters. I thought I wouldn't like the character of Rohan, but I ended up enjoying his point of view, I guess, a little bit more than I thought I would. Lyra, I liked Lyra. I just like want to see more from them. Gigi was the character I liked the most, but she was the most developed character prior to going into this, so it makes sense for feeling that way. I really liked getting her point of view though. But again, like, we just get little pieces. We don't have any real like information. But anyways, read The Grandest Game. I think going to the author event was so much fun. I want to go to even more now. I wonder where she will stop for her, what was it, Games Untold? What's the next thing she has coming out called? Yeah, Games Untold. I think this comes out in like November, maybe earlier, maybe October. So we'll have to see. But now I have to wait a whole nother year for more, which is sad. But we got it done. And I would still recommend this. You're gonna want more. When don't we want more though? There are very few times where I don't want more, but this is one of the times I definitely did want more. But yeah, The Greatest Game, I think I gave this a 3.75. I'm being very realistic with my ratings. When I read The Brothers Hawthorne, I gave it a 5-star, even though it's not really a 5-star book. I'm just super biased, but I'm trying to put that bias, I'm trying to put it aside for this. So realistically, a 3.75, just because I had a fun, good time. I just wish it was like plotted out differently, I guess. I think it has the potential to be a really great series. However, waiting for them one by one will be sad. And I think that's all there is to say about this. Because I feel like I'm being very negative, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Anyways, I do think this is going to get worse before it gets better in terms of things that are happening to the characters. So take that as you will. And I'll see you here next year for when Glorious Rivals comes out. That's what the next one is called. So I'll see you then.